Ja, lekker spelen, dichtbij erin komen, allemaal hetzelfde moment de wedstrijd van elkaar.
要主动上，看到4个人要主动上，至少要跟人主动上，分得过来。进攻到回调再有反击要继续打。好。
Well, a very good afternoon to you wherever you may be watching our broadcast on Paralympic Sport TV, anywhere around the globe. My name's Amy Bainbridge and it's my great pleasure to be joined by Kevin Bowie to commentate this quarter-final between the Netherlands and China. And Kevin, do you think these two teams will be evenly matched today?
Absolutely. I got privileged to see China in action against USA in their overtime loss, and I think they will rebound well here. And yeah, they shut the lights out yesterday. So, and I got a chance to see Netherlands a couple times on TV before I started commenting in the games. But both teams will play hard, fast. They're both tall. They have a lot of similarities to their game.
So this game is being played at North Greenwich Arena, which is where all the finals are being played from now on, and Basketball Arena will be overtaken by the wheelchair rugby. So the first score of the game goes to the number 15, Mariska BEIJER, and she's one of the stars of the Dutch side, isn't she?
Absolutely, a very quality scorer inside and like short-range jump shots. She has a little bit more range than that she hasn't really shown yet, but yeah, no, we haven't.
We'll get there, no doubt. So the Netherlands finished second in Group A. They had 3 wins and 1 loss. And China finished third in Group B, 2 wins, 2 losses.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the advantages that China does have in this game is that they haven't really been on the world scene for a huge amount of time, but they are a good side. And the other teams really haven't played them a lot. So they do have sort of the ability to surprise teams and stuff like that, whereas a lot of the teams like Netherlands and different teams in Europe, North America, play a lot of the same tournament circuit and get to know each other well. So we'll see if that's sort of an upset here. We had a technical foul on the baseline over there. The player's not allowed to leave the confines of the court to gain advantage into the key. And that's what the player did there, so that's an automatic technical foul.
So what, did they go out the end of the paint? Is that
yeah, if you go out the baseline to get around your defender and still gain access to the key, that's illegal, and the referee was quick to catch that.
Okay. So 2 shots and possession for that infringement. So Lucy Horwin with the ball, passes off to Korver, who has a shot, not successful. Very focused, this Chinese side. They're aggressive, aren't they?
Absolutely, they are. I think they really want to win here after their tough loss to USA.
Lovely shot. So that was number 7, Fu Yongqing. And so I guess since the lead up to Beijing in 2008, they've really had a strong focus on developing all Paralympic sports, but in particular wheelchair basketball.
Yeah, definitely. Wheelchair basketball is really trying hard right now to develop, especially in the women's side, and with development of women's junior and sort of under 25 tournaments, as well as at the senior level in all the continents and stuff like that. Just really focused on leading South America into their Olympic hopes in 2016, and in Europe as well. So strong development. And you'll see a lot on the sidelines of coaches who were very successful players in the past that are now giving back to the sport, like Dirk van der Linden for the Netherlands, who was a perennial star for the Netherlands back in the day.
And Mariska BEIJER again, so she'll go to the line for an extra shot to make it a 3-point play.
Good job on the offensive rebounds there.
So there's not a huge difference between regular basketball and wheelchair basketball, is there, in terms of the positions on the court? I mean, you still have your point guard, your forwards, your centres. Is there any other differences?
You do often have your forwards, point guards, centers, but they can change based on ability and what you do. There's a lot of times a 4.5 level player who might seem super tall but is really gifted as an outside shooter, so will play more of a shooting guard or a point guard type position, even though you might think of them typically as being tall enough to play in the post. And then you'll have some smaller players who are just very good in the post that will still work out, the tweener size players. And then you do see your typical biggest player on your team plays center, and the others sort of play the guard and forward positions. So there are some differences, but not a huge amount. More in the rules, just things like travel and double dribble. Travel is every 2 pushes with the chair, you have to dribble the ball 1 time. And with double dribble, we can bounce the ball as many times as we want as wheelchair basketball players.
So you can essentially stop dribbling and then continue on your journey, can't you?
Yeah, and then continue
Unlike
on.
in the regular or able-bodied basketball.
Yeah, absolutely. But you'll definitely see a lot of the best players have similar shooting form to able-bodied basketball, work a lot on their upper bodies to compensate for a lack of stability in the lower body. And again, you usually see the 4.5 level players take a lot of the shots, but the real benefit is if you can get low point players that can take your shots and allow the high point players to get in the key for rebounds or entry level passes to get higher percentage hoops.
Sure. And in terms of the offensive plays that you use, I mean, you still see a lot of screens, a lot of give and goes and all that kind of thing. It's pretty
Screen,
standard,
give and go,
isn't it?
pick and roll.
Yeah.
Those are pretty standard. The one that wheelchair basketball has that other basketball doesn't have is that you have the seal. So a lot of times you'll see the player who wants to get in the key actually dive in between 2 players early, try and pinch off one of their wheels and communicate to their lower point player to sort of grind across their bumper, and then you sort of follow each other in like a train, and it allows you access to the key and gives you space if that player gets bumped, that your own player is now buffering you from the defender, giving you a higher percentage shooting. You'll see it mostly on the baselines or over the top on the elbows.
Little fumble there by the Chinese player, so it's the Netherlands' possession. Lovely looking shot, didn't quite fall. A good defensive board there by China. So 7 plays for, the Netherlands taking the early lead. In the second of the 4 quarterfinals that we're playing today at North Greenwich.
Great defense there by the Netherlands.
Oosterbaum. Nice that the Netherlands have continued their orange theme into their chairs as well. Plenty of orange.
There are a few teams out there who really focus on the full uniform, if you will. You'll see Japan out there with a lot of red and white or pink and white in their chairs, and the Netherlands, they love their orange.
They
You
do.
see their fans a mile away.
So distinctive. And, lovely. Looking ahead, and a perfect pass there to Mariska BEIJER. Yes, in Beijing in 2008, it was the Netherlands who set the standard for partying. They had a pavilion over in the east of Beijing, and every night people dressed in orange converged on that particular pavilion and partied all
Absolutely.
night. Not the athletes, although as athletes finish their sports, they seem to turn up there.
Absolutely. They had the Heineken House set up in in Vancouver and Whistler. So yeah, I was able to see that in Canada during the 2010 games too. So
It's good fun.
yeah, had some great experiences there. See China now sort of opting for a bit of a boxing one or a 3-2 zone that they sort of shift into there. They're just sort of shelling up to try and dare the Netherlands to shoot. Netherlands didn't really show that their outside form was great in the first few minutes there, and so now they're sort of taking that risk and saying, like, let's not give them access to the paint, let's make them shoot outside. We'll see if the Netherlands can get hot and get China to jump out and create some pick and rolls.
So the Dutch players right there for the defensive boards again.
China a little bit slow in transition there and gave the Netherlands some access to the key there, but unable to convert.
Yeah, that's one aspect. That's like some teams are just so sharp in their offense-defense or defense-offense transition, but others are a little slower. I guess that's something well, at this level, you're really exposed, aren't you?
It is, and
not quick
sometimes
enough.
it's just your style or your game plan. If you don't have players who are really capable of high speeds, then oftentimes you're not as good at transition, and you're really hoping to be very successful shooting basketball, and then you're able to get back on defense at your own pace. But it's the teams that can really press hard and sort of take you out of your rhythm, like USA did to China in the closing moments of that game. They were terrific at transition, both offense and defense, pressing both ways and really crossing a lot. That's one way to really break a press in wheelchair basketball, is to cross other people out, and then you sort of set picks in transition.
And do you see in wheelchair basketball, I mean, I've noticed a lot of teams, when they really want to step up the defensive pressure, they go full court man-on-man, basically, and it really locks up the game in a lot of ways. It's different, sort of, I guess, to the able-bodied basketball in that it can really lock things in. But what about like full court presses and things like that? I haven't really seen much of that during this tournament.
Yeah, the women's game, they typically go back a lot, but that's where sort of USA is most successful, is on their press. You will see teams like Canada and the Netherlands press from time to time. But that's sometimes you press only just to take a team out of their rhythm and not allow them to set up, take a little bit of time off the shot clock, and hopefully you get a riskier pass. Teams like the USA really like to lock down on one individual player because they have a lot of chair skills.
Yeah.
And then they can take one player and isolate them out and make teams play 4-on-4 against them. Sometimes you give up a little bit more space, but they value their chair skills and really realize that they can close some gaps. So it's really what you're looking for to do in your press. Are you looking to steal the ball, just take away some time, or are you looking to really shut down one individual?
So China's accuracy hurting them a little bit in this first quarter.
Yeah, a little bit surprised they actually came out at the beginning of every quarter in the USA game the other day, firing on all cylinders. A couple of their players shot in the 60s, and number 4 there shot in the 70 percentile, which is absolutely amazing statistic.
So 35 seconds left in the first quarter. Is that a charge called, was it? No?
You see an offensive push call there.
Yeah, offensive push. Okay, so BEIJER got herself in a good position down base there and drew the foul.
Referee's discussing there, I think, where the inbound is going to go.
And it just drops in for the Netherlands. So a handy little score for them just as the first quarter draws to a close. He said the scorer there. So much talk going on there.
There is a lot of talk.
But it's good, isn't it? I
Absolutely.
mean, you have to. It's when it's quiet that you start to worry, isn't it?
Communication is paramount for sure. It's usually the first thing to go when teams get tired, and it's the teams that talk the best, especially if you're a pressing team. That's when your letdowns happen, when you don't communicate.
So 13 plays 6 in this quarterfinal. Just one quarter in that we are, and also today the next match is Germany and Great Britain, and then we'll have later on this evening the one to watch, United States and Canada. Very, very interesting indeed. So that match is at 9:15 local time here in London. 7 o'clock this evening, Germany and Great Britain.
Coach Vanderlyn in there just trying to work out some plays, looking for steals on the baseline. You can see on the card that he's working with there. He's really wanting to attack the baseline right now.
So reasonably even statistics, although the Netherlands is getting more shots away at the moment, more attempts at the basket.
They're definitely doing a little bit better in transition right now than China is, but I think China has the game to do the transition. They obviously did well against USA, and I think they'll find their rhythm.
So the top scorer is BEIJER for the Netherlands. She's scored 10 points so far. HUITZING has 3 rebounds in total, and so does the captain, Korver. BEIJER has 3 rebounds as well. And Fu Yi for China has 6 points. Fu Yongqing, sorry, 6 points.
It's great for Netherlands that BEIJER's gotten off to a great start, because now China is actually dedicating 2 players to her almost, with one player sort of shadowing in the middle towards that area. So if BEIJER can really keep those 3 defenders occupied, then there's room to attack for the Netherlands on the elbows and at the top. So hopefully they make that adjustment.
Nice shot there from the number 7, Liu Man. And do you feel that the Netherlands have got that depth, that they're not just sort of centering around the one player, BEIJER? We have seen a couple of teams in this tournament really seem to structure their entire offense around, one player, and when that player doesn't shoot well, it all falls apart.
Absolutely. I think that Netherlands have a great depth. They've seen tons of players go through their program over the years, and they always seem to be in the favorites. So they do a great job with coaching in that country, and really a lot of success in their wheelchair basketball program, both men's and women's, past and present.
So shot clock infringement. I'm enjoying the intensity in this game. Both teams have really committed to the ball and showing a lot of endeavour.
Definitely, it's do or die right now. So
absolutely, it's great. No signs of fatigue at all.
No. I was interested to see if China, going to overtime the other day, would be a little fatigued going into this game, or whether they'd be mentally refocused and really execute.
Because that is such a skill, isn't it? But it's also up to the coaching staff to manage the team well, to make sure mentally they can refocus after
Absolutely.
an overtime.
A lot of the teams, like we talked about in our previous broadcast, have ISTs. That includes sports psychology, so that's a really key part of a lot of wheelchair basketball now.
So the Netherlands manages to maintain the offensive boards, and they'll have another opportunity to run their offense there. That was a nice play. Unfortunately, unable to finish it off, but so BEIJER in the mix yet again.
Absolutely. Great job on the offensive glass by the Netherlands there. Unfortunately for BEIJER, that she actually pushed up with both lower wheels were in the air, and that is a foul actually to lift to catch the ball.
Right.
You're allowed to tilt on one wheel, but both wheels, when they're up in the off the ground and you're in an advantageous position to play the ball, that is a foul now. Just a common foul.
That's in any time of play, isn't it?
Yeah,
doesn't
any
matter
live ball.
Yeah, sure.
It's for rebounding, shooting,
Sure.
and passing if your back two wheels are in the air and you're gaining advantage. If the contact puts you in that situation, then it's okay, and you can let it go.
It's a nice shot here from Fu Yongqing. Oh, lovely. Just having a bit of trouble finishing off, though, at the moment, aren't they, the Netherlands?
Absolutely. I don't think they've quite found their shooting form other than BEIJER, but they have had a lot of offensive rebound opportunities that they haven't converted either, which is too bad. BEIJER with the foul there.
So Peng Feng Li is the player that will go to the line for 2 shots.
See if the coach goes to a sub here for BEIJER. 2 fouls with 7 minutes left to go in the first. Not the best foul position to be in. And there we do see BEIJER come out right now.
So she'll just have a bit of a break while they hardly want her to run into foul trouble this early in.
Absolutely smart coaching, and now we'll get a chance to see the depth that they have.
China may use this as an opportunity, I guess, mightn't they, to see if they can break down the offense further.
It will give them a chance to readjust their defense and not focus so much on one individual player. Maybe go a little bit more back to a team defense.
China not doing a lot in the rebounding stakes at the moment.
No, and they were a very successful rebounding side yesterday.
Oh, and she's gone out of court. So that's a turnover, and China will have possession from the baseline. Substitution, number 9 for the Netherlands, Petra Garnier coming on. So they're going a 3-2 zone defense by the looks of things, the Netherlands.
Yeah, absolutely. They've seen that China is not shooting as well as they were the other day, and they've decided to pack it in too, and that's helping their rebound stats.
Yeah, sure. Oh, nice play there. Number 7, Roos Oostenbaan, scoring the 2 points for the Dutch side.
Absolutely. Great job of 11 driving the lane and then kicking the ball. Really effective way of breaking down the defense there.
Sure, so drawing the defense up and then feeding off.
Oh, it's great to fight through that pass.
Liu Man, the Chinese player scoring there. Yeah, that was nice work, under pressure too.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have another substitute. And shots just not really falling at the moment, outside at least, for the Netherlands.
Neither team is really on their best shooting form right now, and just wait and see who gets hot and who doesn't.
That's right, so 15 plays 13. Of course, the results from earlier today, in case you've missed it, Australia had a win over Mexico, and Brazil in the relegation, or the qualification. What do you call it when you're playing off the 9th and 10th? Anyway, Brazil had a win over France in that match in the women's wheelchair basketball.
Great call there by referee Rui Marquez. He's really looking off ball a lot and caught the Netherlands player just sort of pushing in on the shooter. That was a really good off ball or off to the side of the ball call from the slot referee.
So we're talking in our earlier broadcast about that. So we have 3 referees on court, but there's just so much going on, isn't there? You really need the 3, and your peripheral vision has to be right in check, doesn't it? So you can see everything that's going on, because you're not just watching, bodies, you're watching chairs, you're watching all the manoeuvring that's going on.
Absolutely. Each referee is assigned a zone of the court, and they really focus on that zone. There's usually about 2 to 4 players in each referee's zone, and everything is sort of rotated by the referee on the baseline. So as he changes sides of the key, the referees rotate around to take new areas of responsibility.
And you're a referee yourself. I mean, how long does it take you to become a competent wheelchair basketball referee?
It really depends on your level of able-bodied refereeing. Most of wheelchair basketball referees, in fact all of them that I know of, start in able-bodied basketball. And then they either see a wheelchair basketball game at some point or know somebody with a disability and give it a shot. And it does usually take about 3 or 4 years to become really practiced at it. And part of it is that there's just not as many wheelchair basketball games or league games as there are able-bodied. So it's difficult to attract new referees, or it can be difficult to learn it because you're not getting a ton of practice. But the ones that really catch on, they do really well. And a lot of them are able-bodied FIBA-carded referees as well as IWBF-carded referees.
Sure.
So they're able to do the able-bodied game internationally as well as the wheelchair game, which is really big for our sport to be able to attract quality refereeing. And we do get it here at the Paralympic Games.
So shot doesn't fall again for China. Netherlands rebounding again. And BEIJER is still resting on the bench, but the Netherlands doing okay without her, although it's just the 1 point the difference between the two sides at the moment.
If you were looking on the positive side right now, you would call this a bit of a defensive struggle more than offensive
certainly,
success.
I mean, the scoring's not really happening, is it?
No, it's really not. None of the teams have really shown that they have that shooting range that we have seen from them in the past. And it's,
It means the defense is working, though, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. Yeah. They are playing great defense and stuff like that. It's who can execute under the pressure of that great defense, and we'll see who's able to make the difference. Also with BEIJER on the bench too, Netherlands has lost a good production of their offense. And she's just sort of resting right now, which try and prevent having 3 fouls before the half. You'd rather get your last 3 fouls in the second half than you would in the first.
Absolutely.
Because 5 fouls and you do foul out of the game.
So China on the offensive. Again, there's so much traffic in that key. We can see, well, finally they've managed to hit a shot from outside. So China hits the front here for the first time, 18-17, 2:38 left in the second quarter. So we could see they still did that zone defense again, and just the one player creeping out of the key.
Chinese player Deng there just driving a little bit hard on her baseline jump and catching the Netherlands player, number 11, there on the side of the wheel, and that's where the foul takes place.
Oh, I see.
Again, the referees do have to be very skilled to be able to see both hand contact for the shooter, but also what's going on with the chair. So you're right, your peripheral vision is not necessarily just lateral, but it's also vertical as well. So you do have to have sort of great vision there. again, the number 13 player on the Netherlands backing up and pushing the Chinese player wide. That's a foul as well. You're not allowed to back up with your chair.
So what contact are you allowed between chairs when somebody has the ball?
When somebody has the ball, you can actually have quite a bit of contact as long as you don't, in the referee's opinion, put the offensive player at a disadvantage. So there is a little bit of bumper-on-bumper contact. You can back up to the player, but you just can't physically push them further back. So a lot of people do try and back right into the cylinder of the opponent and put up a hand to screen the ball. So that type of contact is allowed. Or if you have matching paths, which is both seat rails traveling in the same direction, trying to achieve the same spot on the floor, then there's no real foul, even though there might be some significant contact. Here we see BEIJER injected back into the game. 2 minutes left to go, just to try and, I think, inject some scoring punch and see what they can get through to half in a lead here.
So, yeah, since she was off, China's gone from trailing by a couple of points to now leading by 2 points. Not a huge difference, but just enough to be putting the pressure on the Dutch side. So BEIJER back in, but she'll want to stay out of foul trouble for the remainder of this first half.
There again, we have like a subtle chair foul on the bottom. One player keeping one hand on the wheel, driving a little bit forward into BEIJER and twisting her chair slightly.
So would you call that a soft foul?
It is a bit of a soft foul. They're just trying to articulate her chair enough that it throws her off and that the referee maybe misses the subtle contact. And again, like I said, the player was put at a slight disadvantage, twisting her torso away from the hoop. If she completes that basket, the referee might hold their whistle a little bit, see if she makes the basket easily. Then it proves that she wasn't really at a disadvantage.
Sure.
And you can sort of let that go. But as soon as there's a for sure miss, that's definitely a foul. Even though it's
nice
one.
steal there by number, was it BEIJER?
It was.
She's everywhere. She's been off, she's back on, and she's straight into it.
Just a slight touch from BEIJER off the Chinese player's chest
Nice
and
too.
back into her hands. And again, you see a little subtle bump of the chair, and that's a definite foul.
Or not so subtle.
Yes, not so subtle.
Not so subtle on the replay and the slow motion. It's a lot easier to see, isn't it?
Yeah.
BEIJER again. Nice board there from Yang San.
You will see the players really try and make a lot of chair contact with bumper on bumper. What you're really trying to do there is control the other person's chair and push it in the direction that you want. And usually the closer you get to somebody's chair, the less the referee can really see the bumping and grinding. And that's when you sort of get away with a few. And that's really what you're trying to achieve down in the post. It's kind of the trenches.
It's all fair, though, isn't it, doing that? I mean, it's not actually...
It is, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, some miscommunication there. And a turnover. 52 left on the clock in this second quarter.
You'll hear a lot of the players actually consider it constructive interference, is what I think they'd say.
So the foul there called on Liu Man. It's her first personal foul, so no huge problems there.
See Coach Vanderlyn in there in a little discussion with the referee on the sidelines. I think he's seen some things in the trenches that he's not liking. Oh, great hoop at the buzzer. Let's see if it counts. It does count.
So nice work there. BEIJER, she's happy at half-time.
So hopefully that'll ignite her into a big scoring streak coming into the half, and she managed to avoid having another foul.
So 21-19, the Netherlands with the slight advantage at half-time, and both teams will head off for their half-time huddles off the court. Nice little play there. So if we have a quick look at some of the statistics, BEIJER is the top scorer on court at the moment with 13 points in total. HUITZING has 4 rebounds. She's the best of that lot except for BEIJER, who has 7 rebounds. And for the Chinese, it is Fu Yongqing who's the top scorer with 12 points. She has 8 rebounds as well. And Long Yun has 5 assists. So a handy statistic there from her.
You can also see here on the screen that there's only 26% shooting for the Netherlands, so surprisingly up shooting at that percentage. But they are getting their lion's share of the rebounding for sure. And they've done okay from the free throw line at 42%. China, however, winning the shooting percentage battle, but not winning the battle on the scoreboard right now.
So you just get the sense that if we look at, the Netherlands, they've had 9 more scoring attempts for that half. If their shots start falling, the story could change quite dramatically, couldn't it? Because they're creating more opportunities for themselves than China.
A couple more bounces their direction, and they could have a sizable lead here with all the rebounding they've been doing.
So we look at some of the highlights. We'll just bring you up to date with some other things that are happening around the grounds at London 2012. I'm still waiting for the start of the men's singles. Round of 16 we're into at Eaton Manor on day 6 of the Paralympic Games. We've got Stéphane Houdet from France. He's going to be taking on Tom Egeberink from the Netherlands. So we'll keep you across what happens in that wheelchair tennis match. We've got a quad singles match happening as well, and can give you an update there. We've got a Swedish player, Anders Hage. So he has just lost to the American Nicholas Taylor. So the scoreline for that match was 4-6, 6-4, 6-1. Taylor, the winner in the quad singles. The good news is I think that the sailing is going to be able to start. I think they have got enough breeze, so we'll keep an eye on how that's going as well. We've also got archery. Watch here, the mixed pairs is playing, and powerlifting, as well as the men's football five-a-side. Great Britain is playing against Iran. That has only just begun, and they're only 8 minutes in. No score to report of there yet. Wheelchair fencing happening as well, and of course our focus here is at the women's wheelchair basketball. And have you, Kevin, been fully ensconced in wheelchair basketball, or have you had a chance to look at some of the other sports happening around the London 2012?
I have had a little bit of a chance to look at some of the other sports. I work for BC Wheelchair Sports back in British Columbia, Canada, and so I have several of the athletes in our programs that are competing here at the games. So I was able to see Nathan DeWitt this morning in the track. He did really well, and I've been out to some tennis and waiting for wheelchair rugby a little bit too.
Absolutely. So that is starting tomorrow.
It is starting tomorrow.
And who are the medal prospects in the wheelchair rugby?
Wheelchair rugby, there are some really good teams out there. Again, like sort of top 5 teams are in the medal hunt, but look for USA and Australia to really battle it out with Canada in the mix there with Japan.
So Japan doing well for the Asian region.
NGB with a really good shot. I think they're 5th in the world right now, and they have upset a few teams in the past. And the most recent tournament, though, it was USA and Japan, and Australia's been all over the place as well. Riley Batt for Australia is probably the best player in the game right now.
Absolutely,
and,
he's such
really
a star. Now, I can tell you, just recently in Australia, there was a documentary on the lead up to London 2012 for a number of our very well-known Olympians and Paralympians, and Riley Batt. It sort of looked at the injuries he's gone through over the last 18 months. He's had a lot of trouble, a lot of drama, and he seems to be able to play through a lot of pain.
Yeah, he does
impressive.
play through a lot of pain, shoulder pain, hugely. He is the most able player in the game, really him and Chuck Aoki from the United States. But Riley seems to go for it a little bit more than the average, and when he spills out, he's still trying to get a goal even while he's spilling out. So he often falls right on his shoulders and stuff like that. And he doesn't necessarily have the strength in his hands to be able to support his hand like Chuck does, but he ends up sort of going through the cartilage in his fingers and right onto his shoulder. So he's had a few major injuries in his career, but tough player. And they have another player very similar to him in Bond, who's also a great success.
And how many teams do we have in the wheelchair rugby competition?
There are 8 teams in the wheelchair rugby competition, and they're all very, very close, with France a little bit of the upstart team. That's the last place qualifier there.
Oh, it'll be a very, very interesting tournament. A late start for those athletes, though, really, given we had the opening ceremony last Wednesday night. So a bit of sitting around and trying not to get stuck into the great food here.
It's true. They play an 8-team tournament, so they sort of skip the quarterfinal piece and move right on to the semis and finals after they play their round robin of 14 pools. So it does make for a little bit quicker tournament, but fun to watch for sure. A lot of crashing and banging.
Oh, absolutely. And of course, the film Murderball has made this game famous. Everyone knows about it, and it's very exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Luckily, our staff was able to be part of the filming of Murderball.
Oh, really?
A good chunk of that was filmed in Vancouver at the Canada Cup.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
It really did put the game on the map, didn't it?
It absolutely has. It's made a big push. A lot of people consider it the fastest growing Paralympic sport right now, and that more and more countries are playing it all the time. And it is a really fundamentally simple game to pick up, but the really, really high performance level is so strategic, and people really love it, especially with the introduction of using some bit of basketball there and going into the shot clock has really improved the level of that sport and made it a fast, exciting, fan-friendly sport, whereas before it was so based on tactical maneuvers, and now it's based on speed as well as tactics and how well you can combine the two.
So you're a referee in both wheelchair basketball as well as wheelchair rugby, and as one of the standby referees here at London 2012, does that mean that you have to be courtside for every game to make sure that if any of the referees get injured? Or
I don't have to necessarily be courtside for every single game, but I am looking forward to watching a lot of rugby and supporting my my team referee, who doesn't always ever win a game, but they're still my team nonetheless.
Absolutely.
And I do have to be sort of available when they call, if they call, kind of thing, and be able to jump right in there.
So just over 6 minutes left in this halftime break in the quarterfinal between China and the Netherlands. If you're just joining us on Paralympic Sport TV, Kevin Bowie and Amy Bainbridge with you for the quarterfinals for this match at least, and then there's another 2 matches of women's wheelchair basketball to play this evening. Germany plays Great Britain and the United States plays Canada. We're expecting very, very healthy crowds for both of those matches, and some very interesting matchups indeed. So it is a sudden death elimination in the quarterfinals, and then semi-finals. The gold medal and bronze medal matches are on Friday this week for the women, for the men on Saturday. Wheelchair basketball. It's been a fantastic atmosphere at North Greenwich Arena, which is where all the finals are being played. Some of the qualifying games, the preliminary round matches, were played at Basketball Arena, but that's now making way for the wheelchair rugby to start tomorrow. North Greenwich has a seating capacity of 20,000 people, and we expect that to be very, very full for the rest of the week. So it's been a close encounter so far. The Netherlands 21 points to China 19. The Netherlands struggling a little with their shooting. But the defensive pressure has been very great from both sides. So not a very high scoring game at this point.
I look for Netherlands here to get in a good shooting warm-up. You see they're out a little bit earlier than China. I think they're really trying to get a rhythm and get their shots in order so they can have a great second half and really make a push for the semifinals here.
A little disruptive for the Netherlands, I guess, in that second quarter because they pulled Mariska BEIJER off because she got into a little, slight bit of foul trouble. Not a huge amount of foul trouble, but they just didn't want her getting into too much trouble earlier. She's got 2 personal fouls. So she set off, probably 6 minutes of that second quarter. And that was when China they'd been trailing by a few points. At quarter time, they were trailing by 7 after the first quarter. And then they actually outscored the Netherlands in that second quarter, 13 points to 8. So they did do better than the Netherlands, but the Netherlands were without BEIJER.
Definitely. I think BEIJER gets a lot of recognition for her offensive abilities, but she's also a terrific defensive player and the sort of core of their 3-2 defense. And therefore, when she's out, they're not really getting the same punch on either side. She's a great two-way player. But the benefit of having her on the bench with 2 fouls is that she does get to rest and make a huge impact with lots of foul room to go in the second half here. So.
So here we have just 1 minute 15 left of this halftime break as we head into the second half of this great match. And not sure, I guess my personal view is that I have a very soft spot for China because I lived there for 2 years, so I always like to see them win. However, the Netherlands is a fantastic country and we know they're a very good side and they may prove to be too good today. Who do you think will come out on top here, Kevin, or is it too difficult to say at the moment?
I think it's tough to say. I think that China definitely proved the other day, especially with Cheng shooting in the 70%, that if she heats up, and she didn't play a huge chunk of the first half of the game, so we'll see if she can heat up. I think that China absolutely can hang in it. And also at the same time, if BEIJER fouls out, then it can be China's game as well. BEIJER is a strong force out there now that she's back on in full strength. We'll see what China can do to stop her or try and neutralize her a little bit and still keep their greater team defense in order. I think it really is a toss-up.
So there she is, 7 rebounds, 13 points, Mariska BEIJER, the star of the Dutch side. It'll be China's possession from half court. Oh, bit of a misfire there. Trying to pass to the post position, but didn't really work out for China. So the Netherlands possession.
And we do see Cheng re-enter the game here, and we'll see what kind of push she can make here.
Nice looking shot there. Number 4, Inge HUITZING. So a good start for the Netherlands.
Good focus on that shot, not looking at the ball, looking directly at the rim, really helps you focus in and make those baskets.
So good defense from the Netherlands, forcing the Chinese player to spin and try and get some sort of position.
Absolutely, but definitely using her height advantage over that player. Once she re-established position and controlled number 7's chair, then she has an even better shot at the hoop.
Sure.
It's a great move.
So completely different story in this third quarter. Both teams have come out able to hit their shots.
Absolutely, good job for the Netherlands to come out early and get those shots in, but it looks like China just maybe did a little bit of mental focusing in the dressing room there, and they've come out hitting as well.
So China with the rebound. So the Dutch side, they are very good in their defensive transition, aren't they? I mean, they got back very quickly then and outnumbered the Chinese. There was no hope of a 3-on-2 or 4-on-3 situation, was there?
They are a very good transition team and still opting to play that 3-2 zone up really high with BEIJER in the middle, trying to funnel everybody down towards her, play some defense. Great N1, again, transition from defense to offense there, being very successful for BEIJER.
So she's going to have another shot after she scored that 2 points.
It's interesting to see teams that transition very well but don't really utilize the press. You don't typically see that. If you're a great transition team, you usually really like to press because your team is very mentally sharp and can create steals and then instantly translate that into offense. That is sort of the benefit of a press and a great transition team. And we'll see if they utilize that a little bit later as a way to sort of mix up their look.
So that was an intentional foul, was it? Was that
I believe they did look at it as an unsporting foul and stuff like that. Sort of reached around from the side and played the person and not the ball, and that's really what makes it easy for the referees to distinguish between a common foul.
Oh, lovely shot there. Number 14, Carolina de Rouge-Versloot. Or was it number 4? I'm getting mixed up. No, it's number 14. It's the camera going to the wrong player there.
Great baseline steal created by the Chinese player going to the line and one.
So potentially a 3-point play. 29-23 in the third quarter. The Netherlands has slightly had the upper hand. So nice shooting there from the Chinese as well. So 29 plays 25. So Huitzing dictating, playing a bigger role in this quarter. And that's a nice shot from her too.
She's got the hot hand right now.
She has. Oh, a fumble there, costly. It's a turnover. I just can't really afford little mistakes like that. They add up so quickly, don't they?
Absolutely, but China is doing a better job this quarter of transitioning. So they've been doing a good job. But again, now that we have a hot hand shooting, you see that they do have to jump out, and that's creating space now. So great job for the Netherlands for coming out hot, and that is going to change sort of the tempo of the game now that China really believes that the Netherlands is going to shoot well. That was a good example of how the player wasn't really put at a disadvantage. She was actually put at a bit of an advantage with the contact. There was chair contact, obviously, but the drift back was very slow and allowed the offensive player space in order to get a good look at the basket. So that's a good indicator of why not always is it a foul when you have chair contact.
Right, ladies and gents, thanks for all the tweets you've been sending into @SPP033.
So 35-25, we're about halfway through the third quarter.
Dan is het belangrijk dat je zo staat of zo staat. Eén van de twee. Dus zijwaarts met één arm of achterwaarts ook met één arm.
It's a great tip there from Dirk van der Linden, and really encouraging what we talked about earlier, the chair contact. Get right up on their chair. Don't play side on your wheel. You have a lot more space between you and the ball if you play with the side of your wheel on their bumper. Instead, he's encouraging them to take the extra push, change your chair position to match theirs, and play with your back fifth and sixth wheels against their bumper, and then you close that gap and make shooting much more difficult for their high post players.
So backing in rather than
backing in, but not backing up to push that player away.
That's right, because then
backing up will be a foul.
That's right. So Inge HUITZING, she's been a star this quarter. She's shot 8 points after being pretty quiet in the first half. So a 10-point lead to the Netherlands. It has been a very close game, so see what China can manage.
China really trying to run the high post right now and see if it plays off for them. But I guess they really believe that 15 will get hot from there, and then that will open up baselines for them.
So BEIJER back again.
Again, you can really see the confidence that it gives you when you have a hot shooter. That pick and roll becomes so much easier because you now have to commit to jumping that player. And especially when you do it in sort of a power position where you have your best player and your most functional roller to the hoop in a position to roll instead of just shooting. Your lower point player now draws them out because they have to respect the shot, and your higher point player gets in untouched. Good BEIJER there using that to her success as the ball was swung to the side with the shooter. all the eyes look that way, and she takes that moment to slash to the key on the backside of one of the Chinese players. Another easy look, just set up by the confidence that they've created by having a great shooter. Oh, a big miss from the Chinese player. There was a steal created for her on the baseline that she's not even looking that direction.
So the communication there is a bit of a problem.
Absolutely. She had guaranteed access to the key there created by number 6.
So Inge HUITZING. Oh, lobs it over to BEIJER.
Oh, that's a great catch again by referee Marquez there with the lifting foul that we saw earlier. There was a brief hop to gain access to the ball, and then she elevated the back wheels. She did that herself, not the contact, and hopefully you can get a good look at it here, and that is a foul for her. So that is her 3rd foul on a tough call, but a great call by Rui.
So a bit of foul trouble. So I think the camera perhaps just went a little bit late to it in that replay there. It's interesting that it counts as a foul rather than just an infringement in the side ball.
It used to actually be considered a technical foul.
Oh,
you get 2 shots on the ball for it.
Right.
Because what they really feel that it is the players that have the most function are physically at an advantage at that position. And that's what it used to be called, a physical advantage technical foul.
Right.
But it's been downgraded to just a personal foul now.
Okay. So it's really just another way of keeping the sport as fair as possible and strongly discouraging people to do that.
Absolutely. There always is a debate between coaches and athletes to say that should be allowed. It's just an athletic play. It's a slow evolution. Every sport goes through its evolutionary periods. Tilting, for example, in the wheelchair used to be completely illegal. Then it evolved to having one hand on the wheel you had to have in order to tilt. And now you're able to utilize your straps, tilt without any hands on the wheels. And it's sort of known as like the biggest skill in the game right now. And the ability to hop the chair has been introduced for a while. It's just now hopping the chair is being used to gain access to the ball or to gain some physical advantage. And it's always in debate between all the players as to whether or not that should be allowed as an athletic play, or whether or not it is putting too much of an advantage for the 4.5 or 4-point player. It is a very tough one to catch, though, so kudos to the referee crew for being on it.
Yeah, it's very well done. So 39 plays 27, 150 left in the 3rd quarter. And the Netherlands has built a very handy lead here. They'd be feeling far from comfortable just yet. China just having so much trouble shooting.
Yeah, they've continued, probably around their 30% mark that they were in the first half, which was good enough to stay close in the first half. But once you catch fire, it's pretty tough to shoot your way out of that. See if Cheng can't heat up here and start doing a similar thing to the Netherlands, where they're able to draw out a defender and create pick and rolls for their offside.
Another miss for China.
All very good looks, just not seeming to drop.
Yeah, just not dropping. It's not like they're taking, hugely outrageous shots from any position or under a lot of pressure when they're taking their shots. They're just not falling at the moment.
For sure. Anytime you have your wheels in the key, that's a high percentage shot.
Absolutely.
They're just not converting right now.
But at least they're getting their shots. So that's one positive for them. It'd be worse if they weren't getting the scoring opportunities at all.
They are. They do very well to just focus on process at this point and set small goals for themselves. Like, can we chip away, in the next half, can we chip away 10 points in 4 minutes or 5 minutes, Team USA did a great job of setting those small targets yesterday to beat China. China just wasn't composed at the end. USA set small goals in their timeouts of 4 points in 2 minutes, and then they went for 6 points in 2 minutes, and that's what their timeouts were basically about, and they sort of crept their way back into the game. And if you really focus on that and not this like, oh, we're in an overwhelming drought right now, it seems overwhelming. It can be a mental task to get back, not just a physical task.
So a bit of miscommunication there, and so China unable to get the score just before three-quarter time. And they're in a difficult position now. 10 points down. It's certainly not an unassailable lead, but it's a difficult task given they're not having a lot of luck with their scoring. So we look back there, 8-13 it was in the second quarter, but 18-10, so outscored. The Netherlands outscored China by 8 points. If only some of China's shots would have fallen, it wouldn't have been a very bad story for them at all.
As we talked about in the last game, that sort of 20-point mark in a quarter is really elite level scoring. Netherlands almost getting there, so they've definitely found their stroke.
So it's all pretty even on the statistics front, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
Been steals were one area. So the top scorer at the moment, no surprises, BEIJER for the Netherlands has 21 points to her name. She's also pulled down 10 rebounds.
It's pretty impressive to be at double-double statistics already with how much time she spent on the bench in the first half there. Tremendous scoring talent, but also great on the defensive end too. She overlooked that.
Yeah, really handy indeed. And Fu Yongqing for China has 16 points, and she also has 10 rebounds as well, but she's sitting out at the moment on the bench.
Netherlands testing their range there a little bit. Another great transitional play here, getting BEIJER out early for the layup.
Absolutely. So quick.
You can see the quality of the transition in the Netherlands, really reflecting their coach, who is a phenomenal transition athlete as well. Got a privilege to watch him in Athens, and he's absolutely incredible point guard for the Netherlands for many, many years. And they were always prided themselves on their transition game as well, the men's Netherlands team.
So it's a quick turnaround for competing just 2 games ago and now coaching the national side, an absolute commitment to the sport. So time consuming and a lot of travel involved. So the winner of this match, Netherlands and China, will play the winner of Germany and Great Britain, and Australia, the winner of their encounter against Mexico this morning. They'll play the winner of the United States and Canada. So BEIJER again now has 25 points to her name for this game. Oh, lovely shot there. Chen Hai-Jen. It's almost at the three-point line.
Cheng definitely had the hot hand yesterday, and we'll see if she can heat up now.
Well, she needs to. They don't have a lot of time left to make up the deficit. This woman, on the other hand, she's unstoppable.
Netherlands have definitely caught fire now. I don't think they're looking back. Even though the deficit isn't huge, it's definitely doable in 8 minutes that are left here. Netherlands, now that they have a bit of a lead, are opting to press a little bit, trying to interrupt the Chinese players. Somebody has a bit of a flat tire.
Oh, okay.
So every once in a while you can have equipment failure, and you get 50 seconds to repair your equipment. Most of the time it's just a pop tire. Everybody carries a lot of spare tires with them, and you can just have your equipment guy run one out to you, or you can wheel over to the bench and get one yourself. And the axles are just super quick release, quick button, pull it off, put the new one on, and you're ready to go.
Yeah, they're so quick, those wheels, to get off. I had a situation the other day, I think it was a women's match I was commentating, and there was the sound of a gunshot, but of course it was a tyre blowing. And then another one went just a couple of minutes later of a different player. It's like you don't actually see it that often, and then we had two in one game. It wasn't a particularly hot or cold day either. It was just unusual. What sort of pressure do you pump your tyres up to?
Anywhere between 110 and 130 pounds pressure.
Okay. So China not giving up yet, 47-35, but they're really not making any serious inroads into the deficit as yet. The Netherlands simply has a response pretty much every time China scores. They just don't have any issues in following it up at their end of the court, do they?
For sure. I think China's taking a few risks to try and get back in the game, and the Netherlands have as well to try and put the pressure on China. So there's a little bit more fast play going on, a little more fast break. So I guess really they're just exchanging hoops right now, and the lead will stay the same. So the Netherlands isn't really losing to take their risk, and China is taking a bigger risk because their deficit could grow with a lot of layups and confidence building for the Netherlands.
So 5:43 left in the fourth quarter. And China finished strongly here. 14 points. It's a lot. Not impossible, but it is a big task.
Tough one, but a good foul there by the Netherlands. The entry pass happened on the pick and roll, and you foul as the catch is happening, and then there's no shots. Take it out on the baseline, get a chance to reset your defense and compose yourselves.
So pressure on the shot clock. And that would have been a handy basket, but not to be. So score stays the same, 49-35. China down. Netherlands have built a decent lead. Mainly due to that woman, BEIJER.
A very good pick and roll set up by her, just wasn't able to complete it. But definitely the offense for the Netherlands is really clicking right now.
The question, what for? We'll find out.
Yeah, I think she thought she backed up just shy of contact to do exactly what Coach Van der Linden suggested before. In the referee's opinion, she backed up the player and pushed her out of her rhythm.
So she backs in here. She wasn't happy.
No, players on defense are often not happy with that one, especially when the player fades back really slowly, as was let go earlier. They just want some sort of consistency in the difference between the two calls. Both were slight fade backs. One was called a foul and one was not. So that can sort of play on the players' minds a little bit. But down the stretch, there's not really much complaining, and this referee crew has done a great job all game. So.
Yeah, it all seems to be played in very good spirits. Basketball is a game that's notorious for having athletes that backchat umpires and can be a little unsportsmanlike towards the referees, but not so at this Paralympic tournament. It hasn't been the case at all.
No, it's not so bad. There are particular players that do it individually, but as teams or as a general mentality, I think wheelchair basketball is a small community. There are not that many referees globally that are doing it at this elite level, and they appreciate the fact that those referees are out there giving wheelchair basketball a chance when there are so many more opportunities in able-bodied sport.
Sure.
So I think that really helps. It's one of those things where the refereeing community is small enough that you know most of the good referees by name are the referees that referee you a lot. So you want to always be in their favor because they're going to referee you a lot. So both teams try hard to be respectful, and as you should.
And that was too easy. Barbara Van Bergen. That's her first score of the game. So 3:24 left to play in this match. I can tell you in the men's football five-a-side, Great Britain and Iran are playing each other. The current score is Iran 1, Great Britain yet to score, so 1-0. So China will be pretty disappointed with their shooting percentage today, won't they?
Absolutely, especially after such a dynamic shooting performance against USA. They'll be really let down with this result, I think.
What do you put it down to? A bit of fatigue and also some really good defensive pressure from the Netherlands?
Absolutely. The Netherlands deserve a lot of credit here, but also the USA did press China from tip-off to the end of the game. So they have to be a little bit fatigued and just weren't mentally able to rebound and focus in on their shots the same way.
Another timeout, not long left now in this final quarter. Couple of quick shouts. Emily is loving it. Kenya wants a big shout out to everyone within this outdoor activity centre. And what a Rebecca, lovely Mariska.
So it's an absolutely beautiful day in London today. Really turned it on after a very miserable weekend, but still there were tens of thousands of people flocking to the Olympic Park. It is glorious today, and the outdoor areas are lovely. There's grassy areas with big screens, and people are lying down on the grass and enjoying themselves. This is North Greenwich Arena, which is further south of Olympic Park. A couple of stops on the tube, or you can catch a bus. And this is where the women's quarter-final between Germany and Great Britain will be played tonight, as well as the United States and Canada.
that's an area where China can really improve. They're looking to run their pick and rolls, despite the fact that their pick and rolls are not really in the best situation. You have a short, small midpoint player that's rolling towards the basket with two really large players around her. The girl with the ball was up against a much smaller player, so that was Cheng there, and she could have easily posted it up. So just because the pick and roll happens, just read the defense and really look to execute where you can. And really, the mismatch is where you want to shoot that ball, not dumping it into the paint for your lower class player. Unless they're sort of wide open, or you know they have a reputation as being a really great finisher inside in traffic, then you want to take it yourself as the 4.5 player there.
So China will take a lot away from this as well then.
I think there's a lot to learn from their video of this, and really where they could have exploited the Netherlands.
Nice shot there. Deng Mingju scoring the 2 points for China, but now it's all but over for the Chinese side. So some good shooting, and that's been the difference in the second half, is that the Netherlands have really found their range. I guess the question then becomes, Kevin, do you think the Netherlands can go much further in this tournament? Are you convinced by what you've seen here today?
Absolutely. They've shown that they have the offensive prowess to really hang in there with all the best teams. They definitely beat Canada well early in their group stage, and Canada's had some big wins as well. So I think that at the top four or five teams there in the women's game, anybody can take it. It's just who gets hot. As an example of this game, if the Netherlands had stayed flat, China was right in this.
Absolutely.
Right? And China just didn't really rise to the occasion. If that same thing happens when the Netherlands plays Canada, USA, Australia, the same thing can happen. It'll be also interesting to see if the Netherlands does end up coming up against Germany, who they play quite often, to see if that sort of familiarity is a benefit to them, or whether or not Germany knows them well enough to beat the Netherlands.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's have a little bit of a boogie. The guys want to see Macarena. Anyone here know Macarena?
Oh dear. Not long to play in this match, but 41.6 seconds in fact. But look, always chance for a boogie, as they call it here in London. We call it a boogie. So the Netherlands will face either Germany or Great Britain. We'll know that result later tonight. That match will be played tomorrow.
Great seal down on the baseline, just really not the right adjustment from Cheng there to hit her open teammate on the baseline. 23 seconds left. We'll see if China can go just on a high note here and maybe execute a basket or a set play that they know really well. That'll give them just a little bit of confidence to take away.
Oh, disappointing.
Too bad.
So there we have it. A big win in the end to the Netherlands, 59-37, 22 points, a convincing win, particularly in the second half. The teams were evenly matched in the first half. It was a battle of the defensive, but now the Netherlands to progress to the semi-final, and we'll know later on tonight who they're going to play. Kevin, thanks so much for your company. Appreciate your insights.
No problem. Had a great time doing it.
Yeah, it's been good. And look, a great crowd there at North Greenwich. And You'll be calling the matches later this evening, so have a great time, won't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
But for now, from North Greenwich, that was the second of 4 quarterfinals that are being played today, and we'll know the results later on tonight. And of course, the athletes backing up again tomorrow for the semi-final. So still lots of basketball left to play in this wheelchair basketball tournament at North Greenwich. Bye for now.
So we have 2 of the semi-finalists decided. Australia going into the first semi-final. They will play the United States or Canada, who took off at 9:15, tap off at 9:15 this evening. The Two more quarter-finals to come. They are in the next session. And loads more action to come here at the London 2012 Paralympic Games. Commiserations to China, but congratulations to the winning team.